This is KSL Sports Live, broadcasting from the Mountain Home Services studios.
Luna scores! Diego Luna!
And I think right now, Diego Luna is as big a star as this team has had in a long time.
Luna, great dance, Luna!
What an impression. Diego Luna, an American superhero on this Independence Day weekend. Hey friends, how you doing? Thanks for wrapping up your holiday weekend with us right here on KSL Sports Live. We've got lots to talk about. BYU's A.J. Debonsa, he's also an American hero this weekend. What did he do for USA basketball today and the award he received coming up? Plus, the Utah Jazz began summer league play. How did Ace Bagley look in his Jazz debut? We'll show you that. And was the Jazz trade for Jusuf Nurkic a good deal, and was buying out Jordan Clarkson the right move? Utah Jazz insider Ben Anderson will join the show to answer those questions. We also have the latest on the Utah Mammoth and an exclusive conversation with BYU defensive coordinator Jay Hill. But what better way to celebrate a weekend of the red, white, and blue than with Team USA? The United States men's national team, led by RSL's Diego Luna, advanced to the Gold Cup finals thanks to Luna's brace against Guatemala last week. Now, can Luna and his American teammates take the United States to the finals with a win win the championship with a win over their rivals Mexico? That's what I was getting at. The game being played in Houston, but a very pro-Mexico crowd. Luna scored in the 4th minute, the semis. Tonight, his teammate Chris Richardson did the same.
Because of his set piece delivery, and Berhalter will hook that in, looking for Chris Richards! It's off the underside of the bar! The flag comes up! The goal is given on the field! It's Chris Richards from Sebastian Berhalter! Less than 4 minutes in!
Yeah, the ball has to completely cross the line for the goal to count. You can see it did cross the line. A goal off the set piece to put the United States up 1-0 early, but in the 27th minute, Mexico able to pull even. Marcel Ruiz feeds it to Raul Jimenez. He blasts it in, and it's a 1-1 game at halftime. In the second half, we jump ahead to the 77th minute. This time it's Mexico on the set piece. The ball centered for Edson Alvarez. Heads it in. Mexico has the 2-1 lead. It would stay that way into the final moments. 2nd minute of stoppage time. The U.S. with one last chance. They get the ball into the box, but really not able to get a clean look and shot off there. And Mexico wins the Gold Cup 2-1. This is the final competitive game for either nation until the World Cup begins here next year. All right, which Major League Baseball teams have surprised you so far this summer? The Blue Jays, they're red hot out and now at the top of the AL East. The Cubs, they have their best start in 48 years. And how about the Detroit Tigers? They've outscored their opponents by 106 runs this season, and they have the most wins in baseball. Today, the Tigers were facing a reeling Cleveland Guardians team that has lost 9 straight. Guardians led 1-0 in the top of the 9th, but with a runner on third, a wild pitch allows Zach McKinstry to score, and we go to extra innings. That's where the floodgates opened for Detroit. Trey Sweeney, 3-run shot, part of a 6-run inning for the Tigers. They sweep the Guardians, who have now lost 10 straight games. The Mets, they were going for the Subway Series sweep today at Citi Field. Top 5, 1 on base for Aaron Judge. And you can't hang a pitch like that for Judge. He will demolish it. 2-run shot, Yankees up 5-0. Bottom 6, Mets have cut it to 1 now. They got the tying run on third. Starling Marte at the plate, lines it to right. But watch Judge. Makes the diving catch to end the inning. The Yankees get the win 6-4. They avoid being swept. 2 of the top 3 teams in the majors, the Astros and Dodgers. Stros going for the series sweep. Top 8, Houston up 2-1. Christian Walker hammers a solo shot to right. It's a 3-1 lead. Then the very next batter, Yainer Diaz. Solo shot to left. We've got back-to-back homers. The Astros complete their first 3-game sweep of the Dodgers in L.A. since 2008. All right, time for our performance automotive play of the day. This one coming from the Tampa Bay Rays right fielder Jesus Sanchez. Look at that! Just avoids colliding with 2 of his teammates. Still makes the diving catch over one teammate, under the other. Rays won the game. They're tied with the Yankees for 2nd in their division. Salt Lake City Summer League is off and running after the first 2 games were played yesterday at the Huntsman Center. And now Jazz fans got their first look at this year's draft picks. Walt Clayton Jr. and Ace Bailey out on the court. The Jazz took on the 76ers. They're actually led in this one by Kyle Filipowski's 22 points on 8 of 11 shooting. and Bryce Sensabaugh, who scored 19 points with 5 made three-pointers. But as for those rookies, Clayton played 25 minutes off the bench, scoring 9 points, dishing out 6 assists. And Bagley, he made just 3 of 13 shots for 8 points, but he did have a team-leading 7 rebounds in the 93-89 win.
It was great. I mean, and we won too, so that made it a plus. It was fun. Coming in an arena I never played in, just feeling the love from the fans. It was just a blessing. I mean, communication is key. Just talking a lot more, communicate more with my teammates to let them know. I mean, off knowing the signs they telling me, so I know the reads. Just focusing on being more physical.
Season with our Utah Jazz insider, Ben Anderson. Ben, thanks for hopping on again to talk about the Jazz. It's been an eventful offseason, to say the least, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they get all these young guys in the draft to add on to the previous 2 drafts. They've got to make room for these guys somehow. And so what did they do this week? They went out and made a few moves to clear up some room for them to play this year.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine this team's going to be even younger this year than it was last year, but it seems like that's going to be the case. They had quite a load of veterans in the backcourt. And that's where they started making these moves and cuts, in some instances, trading Colin Sexton to the Charlotte Hornets for Jusuf Nurkic, and then just straight up waiving Jordan Clarkson.
Right.
They buy him out. They get a little bit of money back in his contract buyout, but he's going to now sign with the New York Knicks, it sounds like, and go play the next step of his career there. But yeah, the Jazz want to clear room in their crowded backcourt for Isaiah Collier, for Keontae George, for Walter Clayton Jr., who they just drafted.
Okay, so let's talk about a few of these moves. You know, the Jordan Clarkson move, I don't know if it was shocking that they bought him out to help him move on and to clear up space there, but he was a fan favorite here in Utah. He was the last holdover, I guess you could say, from the Quinn, Donovan, Rudy years. This was the right move for the team, though.
Yeah, I think it's the right move for both sides, in all honesty. You look at Colin's going to Charlotte. It's not really a winning situation,
right,
but he's in his mid-20s. That's fine. He's going to get a new contract next year. Jordan Clarkson's in his early 30s. He's probably on the second half of his career. So let him go pick a spot where he wants to play. Let him find his next home instead of saying, well, the Wizards were offering a 2nd-round pick for you. It's like, no, we've taken care of you. You've taken care of us. Let's make sure that this is a happy divorce and everyone can go their own ways. And yes, the Jazz benefit by clearing space, but Jordan Clarkson picks an opportunity to go play in Madison Square Garden, play at Mecca. How could you not be happy for him?
Yeah, a chance for him to compete and maybe find a ring. Okay, so with this trade that you mentioned, Colin going to Charlotte for Jusuf Nurkic, first of all, I guess, how would you grade this trade overall, and was this a good deal for the Jazz?
How many Fs can I give? That's a terrible trade.
Right.
Yeah, in all honesty, Colin's a really good player.
Yeah.
And I know, he was on a losing team in Cleveland, and he was on a losing team with the Jazz. I think a lot of that is more circumstantial than it is an issue with Colin not being a winning player. I think he's going to go and help, and I think he's going to help Charlotte win some games if they're ready to take that step. But I think Colin's a good player. So, the Jazz cleared room. They basically waived him. They just didn't have to eat his $19 million salary. Unfortunately, they had to give up a 2nd-round pick with it. So, this is a bad trade, in all honesty, when you just think about the value of what you hoped Colin Sexton would have on the market. And I think the Jazz are a little surprised that they didn't get more for him.
How does Nurkic fit in with the Jazz? We heard his press conference. He talked about how he had to erase everything he knew about Utah before when he came here. How does he fit in with this new program?
But he's less redundant than these guards, so he will have a role and he'll come in and be a backup, and he's one of the 40 best centers in the NBA. Now, the value of finding a backup center is low. It's easy to find backup centers. You get a 7-footer and you come in, especially on a team that's not expecting to win a whole lot this year, and you can find these types of guys. So in that sense, the value is he matches Colin's salary exactly. He's expiring, though expiring contracts may not have as much value as they once did. But if you do want to make a deal midseason and you need to return $19 million to somebody, he does make that. And big guys do become in vogue at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So there might be a little value there. But the truth is he probably plays out his 1 year and goes elsewhere.
Yeah. Okay, so this really is the youth movement here for the Utah Jazz. And it begins right now. Salt Lake City Summer League continues through Tuesday. And then they've got Vegas after that. What do we look forward to with the Jazz in this Summer League this year?
Yeah, I want to see the second-year players. I know everyone's excited about Ace Bailey. I know everyone's excited about Walter Clayton, and rightfully so. This is maybe the future of the franchise. But you want to see if Cody Williams has added weight, has gotten better since a rough first year. I want to see if Bryce Sensabaugh is ready to just dominate. You remember last year, Keontae George only played in Salt Lake City, and that's going to be the same thing for Bryce Sensabaugh. He's only going to play here, but he's in his 3rd year now, and I think he's a pretty good player. He should be better than everybody else on the floor pretty clearly. And then I want to see, how does the rest of the team come together? How do they fit together? And do guys start to play maybe different roles than we saw them in college.
It's just summer league, but there's still a little bit to get excited. I remember Donovan Mitchell's summer league. You mentioned Keontae's time, and so like those were moments that got Jazz fans excited. Do you think there would be a moment like that this year too?
Yeah, you don't want to blow it up because
Right.
they're playing against other rookies or guys who aren't going to make the NBA at all. But you remember back to when the Donovan Mitchells blew up. You remember Darren Williams at the Rocky Mountain Review blowing up and just thinking, oh yeah, there's something here. That's what I think you're looking for this weekend.
Okay, awesome. Ben, thanks a lot for joining us these past few weeks, talking about Utah Jazz. Yeah, we'll talk more Jazz later on. The championship game of the FIBA U19 World Cup was today as well. BYU's A.J. Debonsa led Team USA against Germany. Debonsa would finish the game with 11 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. The United States won easily, 109-76, and Debonsa was named the MVP of the tournament with averages of 14.3 points and 4.1 rebounds. He becomes just the 5th American to be named MVP of that tournament. Well, 55 days until the college football season kicks off. Can BYU have similar success like they did last season? If they do, they'll have to rely a lot on that defense.
And I think this year's going to be no different. If we stick together, we go out and execute like we did last year, we got a chance to be a really good football team.
Yeah, Jeremiah Jensen had an exclusive conversation with BYU defensive coordinator Jay Hill. How good can this Cougar defense be? We'll hear from Hill coming up.
It is the most important player for the Utah Mammoth right now.
Yeah, who is that player? The highest priority on the Utah Mammoth's offseason to-do list? It's working out that long-term extension for Logan Cooley. Can they get it done? Mammoth insider Cole Bagley joins the show to tell us if they can. Plus, some big gets for the Utah football program and recruiting, what Ace Bailey's favorite part of his summer league debut was, and a BYU-Utah rivalry renewed at the international level. That and much more when KSL Sports Live continues right after this. In the meantime, download the KSL Sports app. All the content you want on all your favorite teams here in the state.
You are watching KSL Sports Live.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Former Fremont High and BYU Cougar Zach Blair has been on the PGA Tour since 2015. He's played in 214 career events. He's finished in the top 10 times in his career. He's had 2 second-place finishes, but he's yet to win. Well, today, he entered the final round of the John Deere Classic, just 5 shots back of the lead. He was in the hunt, but things, unfortunately, and Campbell wins his second Tour event. Both of those wins coming this season. The Utah Mammoth took the next step with the future of forward Jack McBain. They're electing salary arbitration, which means as a restricted free agent, McBain can no longer sign any offer sheet with another team. The arbitration hearing will take place on July 20th, where the arbitrator will award a 1 or 2 year contract to McBain. The two sides can also come to a contract agreement before the arbitration hearing begins. Meanwhile, last week, the Mammoth, they also made a trade that adds another offensive threat to the front line. They sent Josh Doan and Michael Kesselring to the Buffalo Sabres for J.J. Peterka. Peterka coming to Utah fresh off the best season of his career, 68 points in 77 games played for the Sabres. That was 27 goals and 41 assists. He's just 23 years old. Only Clayton Keller had more than 68 points for the Mammoth last season with a team leading 90 points. Keller's 30 goals and Dylan Gunther's 27 goals were the team leaders last season. Peterka had 27 last season. Now, Peterka told us this weekend that he loves the fit here in Utah. He can't wait to play for the Utah fans.
Just seeing how they were welcomed, that was pretty cool to see how excited the fans were, and then also when we played in the building, how loud the fans were, how good the atmosphere in there was. So that's just how committed the team is to win, I think. Best example probably is the new practice facility. That also excites me the most. Yeah, and just like by playing there once, just the atmosphere was great. The fans felt like so tight and close to the ice, so it's going to be really exciting.
Well, the Mammoth also had a busy week on the ice with the future of the franchise. This week, the team held its annual development camp, which came to a close with a scrimmage at the Olympic Oval. Now, for most of these players, they won't be making the Mammoth roster for another year or two. But last year's first-round pick, Cole Baudouin, he's actually hoping to accelerate that process and make the team this year.
Yeah, I think my skating's come a long way. I feel good on the ice. I feel quicker. I feel faster. I feel more powerful. Just kind of going into camp and believing in myself, and I think they believe in me, so I want to be a big part of this team, and I want to come in and prove myself and show that I'm worthy of being on that team.
All right, let's keep the Utah Mammoth conversation rolling with our Utah Mammoth insider, Cole Bagley from KSLSports.com. Cole, development camp just came to a close. You were there for the whole duration of the camp. What exactly do the Utah Mammoth gain from development camp and having all the youth there?
Yeah, it really just kind of gives them, first of all, it gives them an opportunity to bring all their prospects in and kind of see what they got, right? See what's coming up in the pipeline, see where the progress has been made for these players, but also to establish their culture, to bring these guys in together and to begin establishing relationships. You know, these are hopefully players that are going to be on the Mammoth for a really long time and sharing lines and sharing, you know, roster spots. So, you know, that's really the focus. It's not necessarily a full-on of where these guys are at. It's more of just, hey, it's been a while, welcome back, meet your teammates, and you know, let's play a little bit of hockey. Yeah, kind of a reintroduction, right? It's still going to be a couple years before we see some of these guys on the ice, though. The guys we will be seeing on the ice right away, how about the addition of J.J. Peterka? The trade there might have surprised some people. You get rid of a couple of fan favorites after just 1 year of Utah hockey in Josh Stone and Michael Kesselring, but you bring in a guy like Peterka. How would you rate this trade, and how does Peterka fit in with the Mammoth? I would give it an A or an A+, to be honest with you. And I know that it's tough. A lot of fans have been very sad to see the departure of Kesselring and Stone, and I understand that. You know, those are two not necessarily big personalities, but, you know, fun locker room guys who started to show a lot of promise, but if you want to be great in the NHL, you got to give up good players to get great players, and that's what this was. You know, it was sacrificing maybe some young developing talent and a solid defenseman in Kesselring for an up-and-coming goal scorer, a guy who had 68 points last season, and that's what the Mammoth needed. You know, they needed to take a big swing, and that's what they were talking about going into the offseason. I think it just maybe surprised people because they were maybe anticipating a Marner or a Bennett or a Marchand or something like that. But I like this because it sticks to the timeline. Peterka is 23 years old, so now he can grow up with the Coolies and the Gunthers and the rest of those prospects that we were just talking about. And that's what the Mammoth are so focused on, is they didn't want to go sign the 28, 29-year-old that maybe, you know, messes up the rebuild, right? You know, you're betting a lot on a player like that, whereas Peterka, he's a really good player. He had 70 points, and he's just going to continue getting better. Okay, so how about in free agency? It wasn't just a trade, but they went out and added a few pieces there in free agency as well. Not the big name guys, but some key pieces. Yeah, free agency for the Mammoth this offseason was all about adding depth and physicality. That's exactly what you're going to get in a guy like Brandon Tanev. If you haven't seen his headshots from every year, go and look him up. And this guy is just, he's an animal. He's kind of a rat. The wide eyes. Yeah, the wide eyes. He's a rat on the ice, and that is what Utah needed. They needed some grit. They needed a guy who's going to come in and deliver punishing hits and drop the gloves and also, you know, chip in and help out on the scoring sheet every so often. So I like that signing. Schmidt is also a really good addition. A guy that just won a Stanley Cup in Florida. And, you know, a lot of people might be looking at, well, why do they have so many defensemen? Well, look at what happened last season. They lost Marino, they lost Dursey, there were injuries to Maverick Lambro and other guys. They had to make emergency trades, and they tried, you know, picking guys up off waivers, and it took a few until they, you know, finally found someone that helped them out. So they wanted to add depth. They did it in net as well. You know, with a lot of question around whether or not Ingram's going to be ready to go. They needed another goaltender to potentially be there in case Ingram's not, because Vejmelka's going to be your guy, but you needed some depth there to maybe pick up the slack in case Ingram's not ready. Okay, they also have to take care of their own as they build ahead in this franchise, and I think a lot of Utah Mammoth fans want to know what the deal is with the future of Logan Cooley, a guy that they certainly want to extend his contract to keep him around for a long time, him and Jack McBain as well. Right. I would say that Logan Cooley is the most important player for the Utah Mammoth right now. 65 points this last season. He's barely 21 years old, 25 goals, 40 assists, and he appears to be a budding superstar, and the Mammoth very much believe that. Now, what I've been told is that negotiations have started, but you don't need to necessarily rush these. There's not a deadline right now because Cooley still has one more year on his entry-level contract, which means you can take some time to get this deal done. Now, I do know that they want to try to get it done by the beginning of the season. Right. So maybe a similar timeline to Dylan Gunther, who I think signed keep the distraction of this out of the season. Exactly. Who signed during training camp. But I would anticipate, you know, we're going to see a contract for Logan Cooley that maybe is, you know, a 7x8 or a 7x8.5, close to 9. Yeah. Because he's just that good. Yeah. Worth it. Yeah, and in terms of Jack McBain, you know, both sides are working very heavily right now. He is a restricted free agent, so it works a little bit differently. I know he didn't file for arbitration, which is generally a good thing. That usually means that the two sides are coming close to, you know, coming to an agreement and getting a contract put in place. Or maybe he's looking for an offer sheet. I don't think that's the case here, though. I think Jack wants to stay in Utah. They're just trying to make sure that they can work out all the kinks.
Well, hopefully those are two deals that do get done sooner than later. I know Mammoth fans would love to see that happen. Cole, thanks for joining us these past several weeks to talk Utah Mammoth. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a fun summer, and can't wait to watch hockey at Delta Center in a couple months.
All right, let's head over to the football field. The Utah football program, they picked up a couple of big commitments from in-state stars this week. Twin brothers Jaron and Keenan Pula, they flipped from UCLA to the Utes this week. The brothers starred at Timpview High last year. They will play their final year of high school football at Lone Peak this fall. On top of that, according to Rivals reporter Steve Wiltfong, the #1 prospect in the state, Salisi Moa from Fremont High, he's leaning towards committing to the U as well. We'll keep our eyes on that and see how that unfolds. All right, in 2 short years as BYU's defensive coordinator, Jay Hill has done wonders for the Cougars football program, taking BYU's defense from 11th to the top-ranked defense in the Big 12 Conference. They led the nation in interceptions with 22 last season. Their 29 total takeaways were 3rd in the country and 1st in the Big 12. They bring back some studs, too, like Isaiah Glasker, who led the Big 12 in tackles for loss. And they also have some big-time additions, like transfer Keanu Tanuvasa. Needless to say, the expectations, they're going to be high as they enter this 2025 campaign. KSL Sports anchor Jeremiah Jensen caught up with Jay Hill to talk about this upcoming season.
Obviously, you guys were hungry to get out there and prove that 5-7 wasn't what this program was about. How do you follow up the success of last year?
Well, stay humble, keep working. I think that's what got us there last year. Yeah, the great teams have a belief in them that they can be great. And I think that was something special about last year's team, is that they knew together we had a chance to be great. And I think this year's going to be no different. If we stick together, we go out and execute like we did last year, we got a chance to be a really good football team.
Some key guys you got to replace, but you still got some great talent. What excites you about the guys you have coming back this year?
Well, we love the team. We got playmakers on both sides of the ball. We got physicality on both sides of the ball. The leadership is developing right now, which I love. I can't wait to watch how they continue to bond and grow together. That's such a critical piece to success, and that's what we had last year. Is we had a really close-knit team that played for each other, cared about each other. We got to get this year's team to do the same.
How big of an addition is Keanu Tanuvasa? What do you expect from him?
Well, phenomenal leader, phenomenal player. I've been super happy with just his role that he's kind of stepped into and embraced. I can't wait to watch him playing games myself. To be on this side of it and have him with us is a big deal.
Depth is always a question, and in order to compete in the Big 12, you have to continue to develop that depth. How is that development coming? Do you feel you're on par with everybody else in the league?
Well, I think we're way better than we've been, and I don't think we're as close as we're going to be here in the next couple of years. Recruiting is a big deal with building depth, and I think the last couple of signing classes have been really good, and this year is no different. I think we got some really good guys coming to us. I just think we're in a good spot right now, but not even close to what we're going to be in the next couple of years.
Man, cannot wait for football to come our way. All right, let's catch our breath for a moment and just take a quick break. We've got more from Ace Bailey at Salt Lake League Summer League coming up. What did Bailey say was his favorite part of his Utah Jazz debut at Summer League? You might be surprised with his answer. You'll hear that coming up next. All right, 1 game down, but several more years to go in a Utah Jazz uniform. At least that's the hope for rookie Ace Bailey. Jazz fans, they were anxious to see what he could do at Summer League this weekend, but these games aren't just about Bailey or the other rookies this year. It's also a big opportunity for draft picks from the past 2 years for the Jazz, including guard Bryce Sensabaugh. Sensabaugh had kind of a mini breakout season last year, averaging 10.9 points per game in 20 minutes per game off the bench, while making 42% from three-point range in 77 games. He's definitely got a role with the Jazz, and he showed again last night at the Huntsman Center what he can do for the Jazz. He made 5 three-pointers and scored 19 points in the win.
Put in a lot of work for these past couple months. So, it really was just going out there and putting it into play. So, I just trusted my coaches. They've poured a lot into us for this past month. So, continue to grow on both sides of the ball.
Well, Utah Jazz are all in on Isaiah Collier as the point guard of the future as well. Last night in his 2025 debut, Collier had 7 points and 5 assists, and then late in the second quarter, Collier stood his ground against Keve Aluma in a little bit of a scuffle here, something he got teed up for, but also something that Ace Bailey thought was the best part of his debut with the Jazz.
The win, I mean, also the altercation we got into. I mean, yeah, it's basketball, so that's going to happen. It just made me more energetic and just more want to play more, too.
Hey, any way to get Ace more energetic, I'm a fan of. All right, more Summer League action Sunday. The California Classic, Lakers and the Heat. This is Bronny James starting the game off with the pickpocket, goes the other way, throws it down. The Heat with a little showtime of their own. Javonte Cook to Khalil Ware. How about that poster on the huge oop for Ware? Bronny ended up with 10 points. Lakers got the win. The other game today out in Cali, the Warriors taking on the Spurs. Third quarter, that's former Ute Gabe Madsen right there playing for the Warriors Summer League team. He drains the corner three-pointer. Then a bit later, after Madsen got the steal on the next possession, he feeds Javier Francis for the assist on that bucket. Madsen finished with 4 points, 2 boards, 2 assists. Warriors' next game is coming up on Tuesday. Well, a rivalry was renewed on the international level on Saturday. This is the FIBA Women's America Cup semifinals between the United States and Canada. BYU's Delaney Gibb, playing for Canada, scored 9 points, had a team-high 3 steals in the game, while former Ute Gianna Neepkins played for the United States. She scored just 1 point, but the U.S. got the win 65-53, and then they defeated Brazil on Sunday in the gold medal game 92-84, while Canada won the bronze. All right, he could have tested his talents in the NFL draft, or he could have picked up a big payday at another P4 school by hitting up the transfer portal. Instead, BYU wide receiver Chase Roberts, he chose to come back to Provo for one final year. With a brand new quarterback leading the Cougar offense this fall, that QB will need the leadership and reliability that Roberts brings to the offense. He posted career highs in receptions with 52 and yards with 854 last season, and he hauled in 4 touchdown passes in BYU's 11-2 campaign last year. He told KSL Sports that the decision to come back, it wasn't an easy one, but with time to ponder and pray, the choice became clear.
It was tough at the beginning. The more I prayed and the more I just laid out the pros and cons, felt that this was the best thing to do. And a big part of it is obviously improving my skills, being able to up my stock in the draft, but also just being with my brothers. And I think that's the biggest thing is having a team like this, being in Provo, you know, the connections and the community that we have, like it's hard to not take advantage of another year.
Real Salt Lake is showing us something they haven't shown us all season long so far. 3 straight matches without a loss. And they're even doing this while their star Diego Luna is away with Team USA. The latest statement came on Saturday night in a home contest against St. Louis City SC. And RSL made those statements quickly, less than 6 minutes into the match. Saturday night, Noel Calascan unleashed a rocket to the top left corner for the 1-0 lead. Then just before the half, Diogo Gonçalves, he added another goal to go up 2-0. They held off the St. Louis comeback to win their second in the last 3 games.
Super proud of the way the guys approached the game, and obviously still got some things to work on, but I think this kind of puts us in a in the right frame of mind, like you said, confidence, and now taking 7 points in the last 3 games. We're moving in the right direction, and we just got to double down on holding ourselves accountable to be the best version of ourselves we can be.
4th round action at Wimbledon today. World number 2, Carlos Alcaraz. He dropped the first set to Andrei Rublev, but then he went on to win the next 3 sets, 6-3, 6-4, 6-4, to advance to the quarterfinals. Alcaraz has now won 18 straight Wimbledon matches. He also matches Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe as the fastest man to reach 75 career victories in major tournaments. The 5th-ranked player in the world is American Taylor Fritz. He also had a 4th-round matchup today against Australia's Jordan Thompson. Thompson ended up retiring in the 2nd set with a right thigh injury. Fritz now is only the 2nd American since Andy Roddick to reach a major quarterfinals in 4 consecutive years. Also, American woman Amanda Anisimova beat Linda Noskova to advance to the quarterfinals on Tuesday as well. All right, let's drive fast now. The British Grand Prix on the F1 series. It was a wet day on the track today. The drivers continued continued on, though, except right there. Max Verstappen spinning out on the track. Lando Norris passing him for second place. The fan favorite Norris would take the lead after a 10-second penalty was assessed to his teammate Oscar Piastri, and Norris holds the lead, takes the checkered flag, his 4th win of the season. He's second in the drivers' standings this season with 8 points behind his teammate Piastri. All right, back to the Diamond. Salt Lake Bees wrapping up their series with Tacoma this afternoon in daybreak. Top of the first, Corey Holland. Diving grab and right. Then in the bottom of the first, Matthew Lugo. A 9-game hit streak coming in and a 10-game hit streak after this solo home run to left. An early lead for the Bees, but they end up falling in this one 15-2.
Yolmer Sanchez coming in the game, and he is going to come over and get Chad Stevens a big hug, big smiles, and I believe this is the moment. I believe this is Chad Stevens being taken off the field because he's been called up to the major leagues for the first time.
This is so good. One of the coolest things I've seen all week. That was during Wednesday's game between the Bees and the Tacoma Rainiers. After 72 games with the Bees, Chad Stevens subs out of the game because he got the call he's dreamt of getting ever since he was a kid. He got that call up to join the Angels in the big leagues. Stevens went a combined 0 for 6 on Thursday and Friday with the Angels, but Saturday, he got that career first. The hard single up the middle, his first career hit. He went 1 for 2 in that game. That was a game that actually went to extra innings. It was tied at 3 in the 11th with the bases loaded when the Blue Jays' Addison Barger hits the walk-off single to right. That was the Jays' 7th win in a row to take a 3-game lead over the Yankees in the division. So how would the game go today in the series finale? Well, how about a Mike Trout bomb? His 14th homer of the season puts the Angels up 1-0 early. Then in the 5th, the Angels were down a run. Former B. Taylor Ward drives in Chad Stevens, who now scores his first career run, and that ties the game up at 2. But the Blue Jays take the lead again on the Davis Schneider hit there to left, and it is now 8 straight wins for Toronto. They are red hot. A rivalry on the north side of Chicago, the Cubs hosting the Cardinals. 3rd inning, this game's already getting out of hand. Seiya Suzuki rips one to left. It's a run-scoring double for the 8-0 lead. Then in the 5th inning, Suzuki rips another pitch, this time to right center, and this one's gone. Solo homer to build the 11-0 lead. That's his 25th homer of the season. That's the 4th most in the National League. The Cubs now have 54 wins this season. All right, we have a handful of all-stars here in Utah, and one of them set an all-star record. What is that? It's the Utah Archers at the PLL All-Star Weekend. I'll tell you what it's all about and what caught our attention there next.
Looking for the perfect suit for that special occasion? At Mr. Mac, we have the best selection of suits for weddings, missions, and more. From boys' suits to men's formal wear, we've got you covered. Complete your look with our great accessories, including shirts, ties, shoes, and belts. And with free alterations, you'll always get the perfect fit. Come into one of our 9 convenient locations today or MrMac.com. Mr. Mac, locally owned and operated for nearly 60 years, making you look your best.
My feet hurt so bad in the morning, I couldn't even put my feet on the floor. So I had to start engineering my own arch support. So I got that, then I put this in there, this one. Finally, before I added another one of these in, I went to Good Feet, and they gave me this. So I built all this together to engineer a solution to my pain. And if I'd have just gone to Good Feet, I'd have been better off in the first place.
Good Feet Arch Supports, engineered for pain relief, personally fitted for you.
It's the Bullfrog Spa's Independence Day sale, happening now through July 7th. For a limited time, receive up to $4,000 off MSRP and a free accessory package on a new Bullfrog Spa's hot tub or swim spa. For even more value, ask about our refurbished models at factory direct pricing with factory warranties and free standard delivery. It's the Independence Day sale, happening now through July 7th. Or build your perfect custom spa at bullfrogspas.com.
The itch and rash of moderate to severe eczema disrupts my skin night and day. Despite treatment, it's still not under control. But now I have Rinvoq. Rinvoq is a once-daily pill that reduces the itch and helps clear the rash of eczema fast. Some taking Rinvoq felt significant itch relief as early as 2 days, and some achieved dramatic skin clearance as early as 2 weeks. Many saw clear or almost clear skin.
Rinvoq can lower ability to fight infections. Before treatment, test for TB and do blood work. Serious infections, blood clots, some fatal. Cancers including lymphoma and skin. Serious allergic reactions. GI tears, death, heart attack, and stroke occurred. CV event risk increases in age 50 plus with a heart disease risk factor. Tell your doctor if you've had these events. Infection, Hep B or C, smoked, are pregnant, or planning. Don't take if allergic or have an infection.
Disrupt the itch and rash of eczema. Talk to your dermatologist about Rinvoq.
Learn how AbbVie can help you save.
There's a reason more Utahns trust S&S Roofing. Integrity, trust, and craftsmanship. We do exactly what we say we'll do, and you can trust S&S. That's why all our roof replacements come with a 50-year worry-free guarantee. And of course, our craftsmanship means your roof is done correctly every time.
Call or go online to schedule your free roof inspection, plus get $1,000 off any new roof now through July 31st. S&S Roofing, affordable quality you can trust.
PLL All-Star Weekend got underway yesterday with the skills competitions. Archers goalie Brett Dobson participating in the goalie wars. He was eliminated, though, in the first round by Boston's Colin Kirst, but it was Graham Hossack. This is the guy in the fastest shot competition who made a big impression.
Hossack, this counts. Whoa! 123 for Graham Hossack.
Yeah, that is a laser. 123 miles per hour, a new record for that event. That came in the qualifying round, too. So then Hossack would go on to end up winning that event at the All-Star Weekend. You know, it didn't take long for the other All-Stars to make a name for themselves. How about Tom Schreiber? Made his presence known in the first quarter, bouncing one past the goalie. Schreiber also had an assist in the game. Brett Dobson got the start in the net. He had 9 saves, only allowed 3 scores. The West came away with the win 15-13. Archers resume their season next weekend against the Water Dogs in Chicago. I'm telling you, Utah Archers lacrosse is a fun show. You want to catch them playing sometime this season as they pursue a 3rd straight championship. All right. We'll be back again next week with Big 12 Media Days. Yes, BYU and Utah coverage next weekend. Join us then. We'll see you.